What's up, guys? Father's Day is right around the corner, and so is summer. So we're gonna knock out two birds with one stone, clean up Dad's ride, and get it protected against that harsh summer heat. Let's get started. All right, guys, so like I mentioned, Father's Day is coming up, and what better gift to give than the gift of shine? So today we're gonna be cleaning up Dad's commuter. This is a Prius. It's filthy, the paint is dirty, has not been washed in a very long time. So we're just gonna go ahead and hook up Dad, give him a nice clean, and also get his ride protected for the summer's heat. Now, to begin this process, we're gonna start off with these wheels. So we're not gonna go too far into detail as far as cleaning the wheels and the rest of the car. We're gonna go ahead and do something kind of very simple for you guys, just so that you guys can see, just even the most basic practices can give your ride a nice deep shine and give it a nice layer of protection. So like I mentioned, we're starting off with the wheels. We're not going crazy in depth. So if you guys do want to see any of these in-depth kind of videos on any of the particular areas that we're working on today, you guys can check them out on our YouTube channel. So as far as the wheels, we're going to start off by giving them a quick rinse. All right, guys, so now that we're done rinsing off the wheel, we knocked off a lot of that loose dirt and debris, and now we can get into the wheel cleaning process. So the product that I'm gonna be using today is gonna be our Sticky Citrus Wheel Gel. Now this gel is great because it's citrus based, which means that it's gonna do a great job at breaking down all that dirt and grime, and it's also a gel. So it's gonna give us that nice lubrication and pretty much emulsify any kind of dirt and grime that's sitting on the surface so that we prevent the chance of scratches and swirls. Now I know this Prius does have hubcaps, not the prettiest things in the world, but we still do want to make sure that we give them a nice deep clean. So I'm going to start off this process by spraying some Sticky Citrus all over the wheel. And you can also spray this onto your tire as well to clean your tires. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my stiff bristle brush. Now right here I have a bucket full of water and I have it activated with some Diablo wheel gel, and that's just to kind of give me some more foam. As you guys can see, I have already activated my foam in here, and I like doing this prior to cleaning the wheels just to make sure that we get the nice deep cleaning foam action. So this right here is our stiff bristle brush. Now this is the blue Stiffy, so this works out great for scrubbing your tires so that you get rid of all the dirt and grime that's stuck on the rubber surface. And this pretty much helps you out so that once you're done cleaning your tires, whenever you go for applying a dressing, it's going to adhere more properly and it's going to give you the best bond possible. So now that we're done scrubbing the tire, the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is scrub the surface of the actual hubcap in this situation. So I'm going to grab my wheelie flag tip brush. Now this right here, unlike the blue Stiffy, this is a lot more softer. So this is going to be more ideal for actually scrubbing down the surface of your wheels. Now this right here is great for all wheel finishes. So even if you have some sensitive finish wheels, like matte finish wheels, you can still use this brush on them. Metal, chrome, powder coated, painted, it's safe for all types of wheels. So this is going to do an amazing job on especially these hubcaps. So we're just going to go ahead and give them a nice quick little scrub just to ensure that we knock off all the brake dust and grime that's stuck within the spokes of this hubcap, just to ensure that the wheels are nice and clean. And as always, if you do want to come back to your soap bucket, I highly recommend doing so just to knock off any kind of brake dust that your brush picks up and to pick up some more cleaning suds. And then the last brush I'm going to grab right now is my Boar's Hair detailing brush. And this is just great for the details, on these little spoked wheels. You do want to make sure that you get all the nice crevices in here. And you want to make sure you get that nice ultimate clean. You can also get your lug nuts as well as the valve stem. So now that I'm done cleaning the wheels, all I'm going to do now is rinse them off and then proceed with cleaning the rest of the wheels so that we can hop into washing the car. All right, guys, so now that the wheels are out of the way, let's get into this wash. So right here we have our two buckets set up. We have our two dirt traps, our two buckets. I'm gonna go ahead and put my dirt traps into my buckets so that we get that nice filtered water whenever we're washing a ride. And then right here, I also have my Big Mouth Max Release Foam Cannon already diluted with 2 ounces of citrus washing gloss. It's right there. So this is gonna help us achieve that nice deep clean, especially because this car is filthy. It has a ton of dirt, grime, debris, especially on the back end. Not sure what's going on back there, but it's super dirty. So we're gonna go ahead and give this car a deep foam bath. And I'm also gonna set up my bucket here with my green dirt trap with some soap for added lubrication and cleaning power. So I'm gonna apply about 1 ounce of product into this bucket. And that's all I need. And then I'm also gonna activate my suds before I get into this wash. Now that I have my suds activated, I'm gonna grab my Chenille microfiber wash mitt, dunk that in there to kind of pre-saturate in that soap so that we get that nice slick wipe. So right now what I'm gonna do is rinse off the vehicle from that loose dirt and debris, and then we're gonna get into the foaming action. All right guys, so now that we have our car foamed up, now it's time to wipe it down. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that whenever I foamed up the car, I did foam it up once, and I did allow it to kind of sit on there to break down all the dirt and grime, because I don't know if you guys saw, but during the rinse cycle, you saw the dirt and grime that we knocked off just from the rinse. And there was still a lot of dirt and grime on the surface even after the rinse. So I just did a coat of foam to kind of pre-clean the area prior to us wiping it down with our wash mitt. Now, if your car is super filthy, that's a highly recommended thing that I would recommend that you do, just to ensure that there's the least amount of contaminants on your vehicle before hitting it with the wash mitt, and that's gonna help you prevent the chance of you installing scratches and swirls to your vehicle. So this is my secondary coat of foam. Now the first coat I have already rinsed off, and now this one I'm actually gonna be wiping it down with my wash mitt, starting from the top of the vehicle in straight motions. You can go back and forth, just make sure that your motions are in direct motion. So don't go circular, don't do any of that, Mr. Miyagi stuff, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna get something caught into your applicator, and as soon as you start doing that circular motion, that's gonna cause that swirling effect on your paint. So right now, all I'm pretty much doing is wiping it down in straight motions. I've already done this section of the top half of the roof. Now I'm just gonna continue with the hood real quick. And just like I mentioned, straight motions, easy does it. It's not complicated. I know, most times we're kind of prone to doing that circular motion, but in this case, trust me guys, go in straight motions, you'll have a much easier and fun washing experience. And then once you do a section of your car, you want to come back to your rinse bucket. Now we do have that 2-bucket method, so we're going to go ahead and knock out all this dirt and grime that's sitting on our wash mitt. We're going to wring it out as much as we possibly can. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is dunk it right here into this bucket that just has water. Now we don't have anything in here, it's just a bucket with water and a dirt trap. That's all it is. We're gonna go ahead and dunk our wash mitt in there. Now we did use both sides, so I am going to scrub both sides of the mitt. Now the Cyclone dirt trap does kind of have a textured surface to it. So it does have like a very, very small kind of ridge that helps you agitate any kind of embedded contaminants that may be stuck in your wash mitt from wiping it down. So I just did this side, now I'm just gonna go ahead and flip it internally, flip it to the other side, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and pretty much give it a nice little scrub towards the surface of the dirt trap, and that's gonna help filter out any kind of abrasives through that dirt trap so that it keeps it at the bottom of your bucket so that you're not going back and forth scratching up your car. Now the next thing you wanna do is give it a quick little rinse once again, and any of that water is gonna help guide off any contaminants that still may be in there off of your wash mitt. And then always make sure to inspect your wash mitt prior to you going back to your car and to your soap bucket. So I like to just give it a quick little checkup just to make sure there's no like branches or twigs or anything like that caught in my wash mitt, because that can definitely result in scratches. So make sure wash mitt is clean, it's clean, grab some more cleaning suds and continue with the wash process. Now I'm gonna continue with the wash process starting from that other section of the roof and then pretty much work my way down and all the way around the car. All right guys, car is clean, all that's left to do is to dry it off. So I'm gonna dry it off right now, pull it into the bay so that we can get it ready for the next step in this process. All right guys, car is in, it's clean, it's dry, and now we can proceed with the clay bar process. Now we are going to be claying the paint just to remove any kind of embedded contaminants. Now you can usually tell when there's embedded contaminants on your paint whenever you feel it and it sounds a little raspy. That is all embedded contamination that pretty much makes its way into the pores of your paint, embeds itself in there, it sticks in there, and that's something that you cannot remove with a regular wash. Now to remove it, you're gonna need to clay it. Now right here, I have my clay luber. Now this is a synthetic clay lubricant, so I can use my clay bar or clay block. In my case, I am going to be using the synthetic clay block, which is a synthetic material that kind of mimics the material of a clay bar, only it's in a nice and easy to grab handheld sponge. And it's on one sheet right here. And it's also great because if you drop it on the ground, you can just clean it up with the towel, clean it up, and continue using it on your vehicle. So with this right here, I'm gonna begin the process by spraying down the surface. Now we're doing this to decontaminate the paint. And what that's ultimately doing for our paint is removing anything that's gonna interfere with our bond of wax, sealant, ceramic coating, or anything that we're gonna apply afterwards. Now I have already made up my mind on what we're gonna apply to this vehicle after when we're done cleaning. But right now I'm just focusing on removing the contamination because we want to make sure that it's off the paint before we get into applying any kind of waxes, sealants, or glazes. Now this clay block actually is very easy to use. As you guys can see, I'm just gliding it left and right on the paintwork. It's not rocket science. You don't need any kind of crazy movements. You don't need anything else as far as like products or anything like that. It's a pretty simple, straightforward process. All you want to do is make sure that the surface is completely slick, and that's why we have our clay luber, so that you have the extreme slickness so that you do not scratch or mar your paintwork. So as you're doing this, you will feel that the surface of the paint does feel smoother after you do a section. Now, once the paint is smooth in the section that you're working it in, then that's just an indication that you can move on to the next section. Now right here, I'm pretty much almost done with the hood. You guys see, it doesn't take that long. It's just a matter of, taking your time, doing it correctly, making sure that you have proper lubrication, and you'll have an easy time. Now, once you're done claying, you can go ahead and set down your clay block, your bottle of clay lubricant, and then you can go ahead and grab a microfiber towel and just buff off any remaining residue of the clay lubricant. And this also picks up any of the impurities that your clay bar extracted from your paintwork. And just like that, easy does it. We're pretty much done. I'm just gonna continue wiping off this product. You can also flip your towel to a dry side just to buff off any excess. Then once you're done buffing it off, you can pretty much assess the paint once again, make sure that it's nice and smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and feel it with my hand right now. So you don't hear any of that raspy contamination anymore. All you hear is the nice, smooth feel of your paint. Now, once your paint is decontaminated, that's when you can go ahead and apply a protectant, which I'm gonna go ahead and grab right now. All right, guys, so now that we're done clay barring the hood, yes, I've only done the hood, I haven't done the rest of the vehicle, just because I wanna show you guys how quick and easy this process is. The clay bar, you guys saw it took no more than 45 seconds to get the hood done. Shouldn't take you anywhere more than 15 minutes to get your entire vehicle done. And one thing I did forget to mention is that you can also clay bar your glass, you can do your headlights and any kind of smooth glossy surfaces around your vehicle, such as painted plastics and glossy plastics. Now I'm going to show you guys how to protect your paint. Now I did mention summer's coming up, heat's coming. Those harsh UV rays are going to be, demolishing your paintwork if you don't have any protection. Now, right here, I'm going to be applying a quick and easy to use sealant with carnauba wax, which is our extreme top coat. Now, this right here is a hybrid product. It is a sealant mixed with some carnauba oils that give you the protection of a sealant and the shine of a wax. So as you can imagine, it gives you the best of both worlds, and it's super easy to apply. You can either apply it by hand or by machine. In this case, I'm going to be showing you guys by hand with a microfiber applicator. Now, to use this product, all you have to do is apply a few drops onto your microfiber applicator here. Now right here, I'm going to prime my applicator by applying 6 drops of product. And what I mean by prime my applicator is once I blot this out onto the hood, It's going to pretty much, disperse the rest of this cream onto the fibers of the microfiber applicator. That way, the next panel that I do, I don't have to put 6 more drops. All I'm going to have to do is maybe apply about 1 or 2. Now I'm going to set that bottle down, and what I'm going to do now is blot this out onto the section that I'm going to be applying it in. Now in this case, I'm going to be applying it into the entire hood. So I'm just going to blot this out as evenly as I can. And this just helps you so that you don't have a heavy concentration of product in one section. Now the next thing I'm going to do is simply work the product left and right. Now when you're applying product left and right, up and down, crosshatch motion ensures you that you have a nice even coat without any kind of heavy excess in one section versus another. Now I'm just simply applying it, very easily. If you do have a machine polisher, that will, speed up the process of applying this product onto your paintwork. And same thing as the clay bar, you can actually apply this on your glass, your chrome, your wheels, your headlights, and any other smooth, glossy surfaces all around your vehicle. Now, like I mentioned, this product does combine a sealant and a wax, so it's a hybrid product. So it works out great for long-term protection and extreme shine. So if you love working on your vehicle, this is a product that you can apply, once a month, once a week, every other day. You can apply it as often as you like. However, a coat of this should last you up to 12 months. So that's pretty great considering the amount of UV protection. However, whenever you're faced with those harsh UV rays from the summer, that stuff does take a toll on the overall performance of your protective coating. So we're doing this prior to the summer, beginning. So whenever you're like midway through the summer, you can give it another coat if you wish. However, it's not entirely necessary, but if you're like that person that you want to make sure that your ride is always protected against those harsh UV rays, you can layer it with the secondary coat. Now right here, I just finished applying it to the hood. As you guys saw, it doesn't take very long at all. However, with a product like this, because it's a sealant, you do want to let this sit on the surface for at least 10 to 15 minutes before wiping it off. And that's why we're working in a shaded environment. We're inside the detail garage so that we can allow the product to dry onto the surface, bond to the surface, so that when we wipe it off, it has the best bond possible. Now, since we did also do that clay bar treatment before, that's also going to help us furthermore have a much better bond, so that way this protective coating lasts as long as possible. All right, so we're back. I've given it about 10 minutes for it to flash on the surface. Now all I'm going to do is grab a microfiber towel, buff it right off. Now with these kind of products, they buff right off very instantly, and you don't have any residue left behind. It cleans it up, it picks it up very nicely. It almost kind of just wipes right off, just like a normal carnauba wax. So it's extremely easy to use, and it wipes right off with no problem. And as you guys can see, it delivers a nice, deep, high gloss level of shine, and you're also going to be protected. So those harsh UV rays, this is also going to prevent contaminants from sticking onto your paint. It's going to give your paint hydrophobic properties, so when you wash your car, you rinse your car, it's going to be much easier for you to dry it and make your drying experience much easier, much faster. And just like that, you're pretty much done. Well, in my case, you're done with the hood. Now all you have left to do is pretty much cover the rest of the vehicle. So at this point in the process, if you've done already your whole clay bar around the vehicle, you've applied your extreme top coat, you've wiped it off, you're pretty much done at this point. Now you can layer it with an additional coat if you want of a sealant, of your favorite chemical guys wax. You can, however, I find, me personally, that once you apply your protectant, to let it cure for at least 12 to 24 hours. Now this is a sealant slash wax, so you don't really need that much of a time frame in order for it to fully dry and cure. However, for me, I personally like it just because it gives me peace of mind knowing that I've allowed my coating to bond as much as possible. Now the next time that I wash my car, I can layer it with another coat of this, or you can just pretty much maintain your vehicle with a spray wax, a spray sealant, or even just a regular quick detail spray, just to ensure that your protective coating is performing at its best possible. So that's very easy. Now the next thing that we want to pay attention to is the trim and our tires. So we want to make sure that our rubber trim, our plastic trim, and any kind of vinyls around the vehicle are also protected. So I'm going to grab my next product and show you guys right now. All right guys, so now we're over here with the tires. Now as you guys saw, we did take the time to scrub them down. They are nice and clean. However, now they need to be conditioned and protected. So I'm going to be using an oil-based dressing such as Blue Guard so that we achieve that long-term protection for the exterior of our vehicle, especially for these trims like the rubber and the plastics all around the car. Now, this is great because it's oil-based, which means that it's going to be a long-lasting coat of dressing. It's going to be extremely resistant against those harsh UV rays, and it also contains hydrophobic properties. So this thing will last multiple washes, and with an application like this on a properly clean and prepped surface, this thing can last you weeks of shine and protection. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spray directly into a foam applicator. Now, I'm only going to spray once because I do not want to go overboard with the product. Now, with oil-based dressings, they do tend to give you a much wetter shine than a water-based dressing. However, you do want to make sure that you stay aware of how much product you're applying, because the last thing that you want to do is apply a heavy layer. It looks super wet, you're super happy, you drive off and you get that fling. You don't want that fling. You want that shine to stay on your tire and not fling out your vehicle. So be in control of how much product that you apply to your surface, and that's another factor of how you can avoid tire sling. Now right here, I'm going to start working it into the tire right here. And you guys will see right away, it starts giving it that nice, deep, wet shine. These tires, they are clean, so the problem right now is that they're very dry. So in the first application, your dressing may absorb directly into the rubber itself, which is a great thing because it's conditioning the rubber, it's giving it that nice rejuvenation, and as you guys can see, it does give it a much deeper, bolder look. Now right here, I do find myself that I do want to apply a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and give my applicator another spray. And then I'm going to continue with applying this. That way I do not go overboard with the product, nor apply too little either. All right guys, and just like that, we're done. We don't have any excess product. Now, in this case, one recommendation that I would give you guys is that if you do find yourself applying too much product, I would say give it about 5 minutes for it to sit. That way, some of that product gets the time to kind of penetrate the rubber, and then come back with a dry microfiber towel. Give it a gentle wipe down to pick up any excess, and that way you furthermore prevent the chance of tire sling. Excess product is pretty much the result of tire sling in the first place, and/or an improper application. So right now, this looks good to me. I'm loving this shine, I'm digging it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and proceed with the rest of the car. We got 3 other tires to take care of, and we also have plastic trim around this car. So we're gonna go ahead and take care of those, and we'll be right back with you guys once we are pretty much completely done. So stay tuned. All right guys, and that pretty much wraps it up. Dad's Prius is clean, it's shining, it's protected, and it's ready to hit the road. Now, if you guys want to learn any more in-depth kind of things about any of the things that we covered on today's video, such as the wash process, wheel cleaning, paint protection, then make sure to check out our vast library of YouTube videos on our channel. If you guys want to pick up any of the products that you guys seen today in this video, make sure to visit our website, chemicalguys.com, or swing by your local detail garage to pick it up just in time for Father's Day. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a like, comment down below what you guys learned today, and as always, my name is Joey. This is Chemical Guys Detail Garage, and I'll see you guys next time.